This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well. Is that not the truth or what? It does not matter who the host is. Today's Tuesday, June the 1st of 2021, day 152 of the year, and only 213 days remaining before we get to the end of this bad boy. So there you go. What do you think? A lot of stuff. Hopefully you had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend, doing the things that you do, and we're hopefully able to honor those who sacrifice so much for us to enjoy what we do here. Anyways, we're broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, but I think you kind of already know that because I talk about that all the time. We are streaming across the multiverse of Safety FM and also hanging out with our friends, our colleagues, at that other place. Yeah.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
So there you go, hanging out at Radio Big, doing that stuff that we do there. They're a music station, but we are a safety show, so it kind of makes an interesting mix of things for sure as we are going around and about and so on. Looks like we have no eyes today in regards to side of what's going on the stream stuff. So, hey, cool, good stuff there. So I have no clue unless you pop into the box, so. There you go. So let's talk about it. So I don't know what you did over the weekend. Hopefully it was all kinds of fun as you had that extra day. I got to hang out at some classes yesterday, so that was some fun stuff. Doing some things along those lines. Down in New Zealand, in the New Zealand time frame. So it was some fun times hanging out, taking a look around at what's going on over there. Anyway, so let's start talking right away about the world of trends and what is trending inside of that world. So today's Tuesday, so a little bit out of the norm of whatever the hashtags were over the weekend, so we're not going to be able to talk about those, but we will talk about what are the 5 top trending songs on each side of the categories when it comes to iTunes and also when it comes to Spotify. Good morning, Mr. Posel. How are you? So let's take it from the top 5 on the iTunes side of the house. Kaleo with Way Down We Go. Mass Wolf with Astronaut in the Ocean. That's number 4. At number 3, Olivia Rodrigo, Good For You. At number 2, BTS, Butter. And at the number 1 spot, according to iTunes, is BTS Butter, but the Hotter remix. So maybe you needed hotter butter. So there you go. Let's talk about the other side of the equation, which would be Spotify. So Lil Nas X with Call Me By Your Name at number 5. At number 4, Olivia Rodrigo with Deja Vu. At number 3, BTS with Butter. And then at number 2, Alejandro, Todo De Ti. Todo De Ti. And then at number 1 is Olivia Rodrigo with Good For You, according to Spotify. Yeah, normally we used to actually play the music, but for some reason, the copyrights people are out. And we're allowed to play, because certain segments of it, but because it gets into the podcast world of things, it's become very interesting, especially because we also hang out on the Twitch network, which makes it kind of interesting with some of those things. But we also post on Safety FM Plus, so that kind of simplifies a lot of the stuff right there. This show goes on to Safety FM Plus, just in case you were wondering. So let's get you started right away in talking about what is going on inside of the world of the news, because I think that that's going to be important. Then we're going to get into all kinds of shenanigans, talking about some other things. And then I'm going to tell you about a couple of invites that I've had to some shows, let you know on my side of the woods what's going on there. And then you tell me what you think, and we'll go from there. But let's get you into some feature story news right away, and let's get moving.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Peru's COVID death toll has jumped from 70,000 to over 180,000 after a review. It's now the country with the highest per capita coronavirus death rate, according to Johns Hopkins University statistics. The organisers of the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics say most staff and athletes are entering Japan under relaxed quarantine rules. Japan's been tightening entry requirements over recent weeks as the country battles a wave of coronavirus infections. Phoebe Amoroso reports from Tokyo.
The Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee said that more than 1,600 foreign staff and athletes entered Japan over a period of 1.5 months through mid-May. These arrivals were exempted from a 14-day self-quarantine. Instead, they could engage in activities after a 3-day quarantine, provided they took several tests during the first 2 weeks of their stay. The committee said that no positive test results or breaches of curfew were reported. Last week, the Japanese government tightened entry rules from arrivals from India and several other countries, implementing a quarantine at government-designated facilities for 10 days.
Several scientists advising the UK government say a planned further easing of restrictions this month should be delayed because of the spread of the India-discovered COVID variant. 3,000 coronavirus cases have now been reported for 6 days in a row. However, many Conservative MPs say the country's vaccine rollout means unlocking the economy should go ahead on June the 21st. Because hospitalisations and fatalities remain low. Business Minister Paul Scully says COVID-19 is not currently overwhelming hospitals.
They're not being overwhelmed at the moment, but of course there is but we just got to make sure that we're looking forward to see what happens in the next few weeks and months in terms of that modelling based on the data, because what we do know is that when case rates go up, hospitalisations to date have also gone up, but the vaccination progress is still continuing, going great guns with 63 million vaccinations, and that is what is going to help us win this race. But we do just need to be careful. We need to err on the side of caution.
Zanzibar's president says no one will be forced to take the COVID-19 vaccine against their will. He's trying to counter misinformation about vaccine-related fatalities, as Daniel Kijo reports from Dar es Salaam.
The president of Zanzibar has revealed that his government will soon import COVID-19 vaccines, adding no citizens will be forced to get a vaccination if they don't want to. This comes after Tanzania's mainland national government is yet to approve any COVID-19 vaccine. Opposition parties are urging the government to allow vaccinations to begin. He said the vaccination, when they begin, they will both be optional and safe. Tanzania's new president, Samia Hassan, said she is looking to import vaccines, but still weeks have gone by without any signs of vaccines being delivered or administered in Tanzania. Daniel Kijo, Dar es Salaam.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. The White House late on Friday strengthened its condemnation of Belarus for the forced landing of a Ryanair jet that had a prominent critic of President Alexander Lukashenko on board. Roman Pratasevich was seized just over a week ago by Belarusian security agents after that jet, flying to the Lithuanian capital Vilnius, was ordered to land at Minsk airport instead. The US is now threatening to coordinate fresh sanctions against Belarus in concert with the European Union. Analyst Jim Lindsay of the US Council on Foreign Relations says they're sorely needed.
At this point, much of the focus has been on limiting air flights to Belarus, and the consequences of that, quite honestly, are not significant. If you're Belarusian, you can still fly from Minsk to Moscow. So in some sense, the inconvenience is merely about an hour and a half of extra flight time and a change of airplanes. Likewise, for people who were flying routes that normally would fly over Belarus, now have a little bit of time tacked onto their flight. The question is, where do we go from here? If you don't see a full court press against Belarus for this, then I suspect that this will not be a one-off, that we will see incidents like that in the future.
And there were protests this weekend in Poland and Lithuania demanding that Belarus immediately releases the jailed journalist, his girlfriend, and scores of other detained government opponents. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Peru's COVID death toll has jumped to over 180,000 after a review. The organisers of the Tokyo Olympics say most staff and athletes are entering Japan under relaxed quarantine rules. Several scientists advising the UK government say a planned further easing of COVID restrictions this month should be delayed. And Zanzibar's president says no one will be forced to take the COVID-19 vaccine against their will. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In 96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in 09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, nothing better than when you hit the button early, that's for sure. Anyway, so you are listening to the Rated R Safety Show. It is currently 12 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this Tuesday. Yeah, this Tuesday post Memorial Day. So anyways, let's start talking about what is going on inside of the world of the news and all that kind of fun stuff, because that's always important to discuss. Anyway, an American socialite who is married to her... An American socialite, who is married to the son of the British businessman Lord Michael Ashcroft, is being investigated in connection with the death of police chief who was found fatally shot. Jasmine Harton, 38, has reportedly been drinking with San Pedro Superintendent Henry Murjamat prior to the body being discovered in the waters of San Pedro Island. He was found with a single gunshot wound behind the right ear, according to the Times London. Investigators believe that the pair were playing some sort of game with Jamat's pistol, which was found on the pier. The victim's sister, Marie Jamat Tazul, 55, told the Daily Mail that she was informed that the charges would be filed against Harton, but did not reveal what the charges were. Harton, who has been taken into custody, has refused to cooperate with investigators. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on, I guess, right there. If that's something that you care about, interested in, and all that kind of fun stuff as well. So there you go. All you can do when you think about it is shake your head. Duh. That's for sure. Anyways, the CDC revealed new guidelines for mask-wearing summer camps. It's setting up where all are fully vaccinated. The need for mask or physical distancing is not necessary, according to the statement. Also, for those who are unvaccinated, should not be required to wear a mask while outdoors. The health agency did not offer specific guidelines on how camps should determine who is vaccinated and who isn't. Sounds like something a little odd to me. So I have to tell you, over the weekend, I went out this is the second weekend in a row that I have went out to some heavily populated areas. Not going to lie there. But I'm going to tell you this. The interesting part about this whole thing, as I go into these heavily populated areas, the weird part about it is there's tons and tons of people without masks. And that's fine when you're outdoors, depending on social distancing and all that kind of fun stuff. But then when you get indoors, you see the signs that say, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. Okay. So, because there is no protocol or requirement, blah, 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 I still am amazed in regards of some areas where you go to and there's hardly anyone with a mask. Yesterday, I went to a store and there was probably 100 to 10, let's say 100 to 5 ratio, meaning with people with masks compared to the people that didn't have masks on, which I was kind of surprised about. But hey, that's my observation as we're going around. So how are you feeling about this whole mask thing, not mask thing, and all that kind of fun stuff? Do you tend to wear a mask at all times? Are you vaccinated? I know that still is going to be an ongoing question. And as you are seeing more and more things open up, what are you thinking about it? And how is your work sites, yes, plural, going with that particular regard? Just a question, of course. Anyways, China is easing back on its birth limit. Did you hear about this? The ruling Communist Party announced that couples will be allowed to have 3 children instead of 2 in response to population rising of age. The announcement comes after a census data showed that China's working age population shrank over the past decade, while the number of people over 65 rose, causing strain on the economy and society, according to the state news. The new birth limit had been in place since about the 1980s. So there you go. Some things to think about, that's for sure. Anyways, so here you go. Saying that the OSHA guidelines still have not changed in regards, I'm assuming that he's talking about mask mandates, so that's going to be some stuff to think about for sure.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Did you hear about this? A teacher from Hong Kong has become the fastest female climber to scale Mount Everest, breaking the record by more than 13 hours. Tsang Ji-hung, 45, climbed the world's tallest peak in 25 hours and 50 minutes, beating the record of 39 hours, 6 minutes, which was set by a Nepali woman back in 2017. Also, author Moore, 75, became the oldest American to climb to the top. He took the crown from Bill Burke, who became the oldest at the age of 67 back in 2009. So there you go. There's some knowledge for you if you care to know about that stuff. Anyways, you hear about this one? Cristina Bajena Rivera was found guilty of first-degree murder of in the brutal 2018 killing of college student Malik Tribbets. He will be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Worth noting, Rivera was in the country. Let's see. Rivera was in the country working at a was working in the country at a farm as a farm worker, but had entered the country illegally. I mean, still, let's get it straight. Death is still death. So I don't know. It says something. Okay, hold on. Rivera had entered the country illegally, something the mainstream media tried to ignore by referring to him as a farm worker. But he was a farm worker, but he had entered in illegally. But still, let's talk about death as death, opposed to it just being swept under the rug. I mean, I don't know. What the hell were you thinking when you said that?
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Let's continue into the world of the news of the weird, because apparently that's where we're at today. 2 unusual looking and extremely rare lobsters were spotted in the market in England. The pair, identified as the orange Canadian lobster, were listed for about $36. According to the caterer, Joseph Lee, the chances of seeing one in a tank is 1 in 30 million. The chances of seeing 2 being in the same tank are 1 in a billion. The unique crustaceans were donated by Birmingham Sea Life Center. So there you go. What a great outcome of something that you probably didn't truly care about.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a bombshell new study claims that they have proof the COVID-19 virus was created in a Chinese lab. British professor Angus Dalgleish and Norwegian scientist Birger Sheridan wrote that they have primary evidence of redo engineering in China, but have been ignored by academics and major medical journals. The study set to be published, the Scientific Journal Quarterly Review of Biophysics Discovery. Wow, that's an easy one. Accuses Chinese scientists of deliberate destruction, concealment, and contamination of data. The scientific consensus for much of the pandemic was that the virus jumped from bats to other animals of humans. Wow. Okay. Animals of humans. Maybe they might to say animals to humans, because animals of humans, this doesn't sound right. Let's try that again.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
So I don't know what's going on with the news today, but man, is it something special. Anyway, Scott Peterson, a man convicted in 2005 of killing his pregnant wife, Lacey, will not face a new death case. The county's district attorney office said they would end their efforts to seek a new death sentence against Scott after consulting with Lacey's family. Lacey was 8 months pregnant with the couple's son, Connor, when she disappeared on Christmas Eve in 2002. Scott, now 48, has maintained his innocence in the case. A judge was considering whether to grant Peterson a new trial in the case after after it emerged that a juror failed to disclose that she once sought a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend out of fear of her own unborn child. Well, that's kind of a big thing to mention, I would say. I think that should have probably been brought up. She might have had some ideas ahead of time, in doing so. So what do you think about this one? Does it deserve another rendezvous? Does it deserve another roundabout as we're talking about this, or no? Or do you think, hey, it is what it is, we move forward and talk about it? I don't know. I'm asking you. Anyways, 2 people were killed and over 20 wounded in a mass shooting at a concert in Florida early Sunday. The shooting took place at midnight at Billard's Club just north of Miami. According to law enforcement sources, 3 suspects pulled up to the club in a white SUV and began shooting indiscriminately into the crowd gathered by at the venue. After the firing, they fled the scene. Authorities believe that the incident was a targeted act. The investigation remains ongoing as officers search for suspects. That's an interesting one. I mean, here's the thing. I know. When I say this, some things are just not going to make sense, and I'm going to have to say it anyways. But here's the thing. When you start thinking about this, here's the gig. When we were talking pre-pan, not a lot of stuff going on with regards to a lot of shootings. Or, excuse me, not pre-pan, during pan. Not a lot of things going on with shootings. Now that things are opening back up, why is this all of a sudden becoming a huge thing again? I understand now people are doing shit, so don't get me the wrong way. But man, does this make it interesting? I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's just kind of one of these weird world things. For sure. Anyways, let's continue talking. There were a recorded 1.1 billion smokers and nearly 8 million smoking-related deaths in 2019, according to a new study. Finding from the data of 204 countries and territories as part of a global burden of disease shown that 10 countries could count for almost 2/3 of the global smokers. They are China, India, Indonesia, the U.S., Russia, Bangladesh, Japan, Turkey, Vietnam, and the Philippines. Researchers also found that the most smokers taking up the habit between the ages of 14 to 25. The most common health issues tied to smoking include heart disease, chronic obstruction of pulmonary disease, and tracheal bronchitis and lung cancer and strokes. Wow, that sounds like something that why would you want to pay to do that and get all that kind of fun stuff? Let's continue talking real quick. The increase comes as progress against the prevalence of smoking has slowed in the last decade across many countries. So that's part of the other reason on what we're seeing there. So what do you think about this? I think it's interesting because I tend to go to a lot of sites where they have the smoking signs, can't smoke within 50 feet of the door, or this is a smoke-free environment, but you still see people smoking. And I don't know. I mean, I still think that if you go to Canada, they have some of the best cigarette cover art. And yeah, I mean that sarcastically. Meaning you see people with their rotting of their teeth and what kind of stuff that it can cause. I mean, if that's not good enough to kind of give you the heebie-jeebies if you smoke, I mean, that's a number for sure to think about. So I don't know. I don't know how you feel about the whole thing, but it's an interesting aspect as we do talk about it. Anyways, let's get into some more stories and all that kind of fun stuff as we continue down the path right here. Should we do it? I mean, should we go ahead and just do it? Let's do that thing that we do.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about this because it seems to be that we professionally tend to have this but not realize it. But how often do you go and have conversations with people and you might not agree with what the hell's going on? No, seriously. Like, how often does this happen? I mean, it should happen pretty often, I would think, and one would assume, and all that other kind of fun stuff. But does it happen? Do you kind of go in and not have the same opinion of others? Seriously. Now, think about it. It's probably the easiest way to have this convo, if you really want to go down this path, is thinking about your interactions between you and your organization, especially if you're kind of developing a culture now that's related to safety, or if you're developing now a culture where they're truly understanding safety. There's always kind of that differing of opinions. There's always that differing of how people view the world. You know what I'm talking about there? Does that make sense? I mean, I want you to kind of go through this aspect here because it becomes interesting on the whole aspect of, we can't agree on everything, and that's okay. Or the lazy format where it goes, we will agree to disagree. I mean, and I understand people saying that, but it's a lazy argument to say, hey, you don't want to argue with me. You don't want to have the verbal confrontation of whatever the hell we're talking about, and that's okay too. But it's interesting to see more and more on how this is becoming a conversation that a lot more people are talking about in regards of the differing of opinions, and that's okay. But how do you do it in a professional environment? Because you can't get into an argument with people just to say, hey, we need to argue about this shit because we're not agreeing on it. But when you start taking a look at it, a lot of people refer to this as DPO. Yeah, DPO, differing professional opinions. So as I go through things and take a look around and all these kind of fun stuff, you are familiar that we do talk a lot about human and organizational performance, which is tied into the DOE. Yeah, that's where a lot of it came from. So as I was looking through some documents over the weekend, because I did do that, I did find a document. Well, I shouldn't say found it over the weekend because I had found it previously. I was reviewing it again over the weekend, I should probably say, where they had actually come up with a document a few years back about differing professional opinions for technical issues involving environmental, safety, and health technical concerns. And I started thinking about this, and I said, maybe that's a question for you and I here today. Maybe we need to actually start thinking about this and asking that whole question of, do we have documents inside of our organization on how these things would be handled? Now, listen to me. I can tell you, because I've heard it 1,000 times, and we've talked about it 100 times, heard it 1,000, talked about it 100, about sometimes some of the paperwork for your organization is not written for a human being to read. It is written in jargon that you're like, what? Exclusion of paragraph 3, order applies to this, and offer code 723 does not have the capability to be applicable to the cancellation of subpart FAR 532.1. Yes, I know. So imagine if you had a document inside of your organization talking about differing professional opinions. Now, this one that I have found with the Department of Energy is dated all the way back of almost a decade at this point. But it's something that's intriguing to take a look at because it does go over the purpose of the documentation and why it should be in place for if they did have a differing professional opinion on how it could be discussed. And I think more and more as we talk about this is something that all organizations should consider putting in place if you don't have one already, because this could actually help with a lot of disputes in regards of operations, or depending on what categories you want to put it on. Let me kind of put it that way. So depending on what categories you put it on, so how operations would be handled, safety would be handled, health, so on, environmental, but it gives you some guidelines on how you can have these differing professional opinions when it comes to these issues and how you would actually sequentially go through the information to have the discussion with other components or departments inside of the org. So it could be people that are in this one section or other sections of the organization and going forward. Now, I'm going to tell you, the U.S. Department of Energy has written this documentation, and it is order number DO30 44.2. Excuse me, 442.2. That's DOEO 442.2. If you wanted to take a look at what the document is. Now, it is 21 pages long. I'm going to say if you do make one inside of your organization, you probably don't need to make it 21 pages long. But the Department of Energy does cover some things that we probably don't normally cover inside of our organizations. But I take a look at it, and it gives you kind of a rough breakdown of what the guidelines should look like. And this kind of covers a whole gamut of things. Now, it doesn't go as far as saying, hey, if you have a disagreement, you should go into full-blown Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It doesn't say anything along those lines, but it says how to handle these issues and how to handle the conversation on how it would need to be formed, how it would need to be presented, and how you would move forward. The other portion that it talks about is that you have to provide in a reasonable time and resources that proves your point. How you would put them on, you would give them a notice of where you're having a differential in opinion and how you would attach the documents that go with it. Now, keep in mind that as this particular document, if you look at it as an example, even goes as far as having conversation with contractors that you might outsource to. And I think it's important because sometimes what happens is we start doing the work and then we get midstream, and then all of a sudden there's a change on how the fluidity or the flow is going because of something that has happened. Where if you have something kind of laid out already, where is the general guidelines, this would help you in the long runs. So it's just something to think about. It is a way of being able to professionally have these discussions, opposed to saying, hey, this guy or this gal that is down the hallway here, or this binary, all of a sudden is a total a-hole when it comes to dealing with a lot of the stuff that we're doing. So this way, if you do have the aspect of where you're not getting along or not seeing eye to eye, you can discuss in a professional manner how the conversation should go in regards of this differing of professional opinions, opposed to it just being, the gossip mill of down the hallway of, hey, listen, little Bobby and little Maggie didn't get along, so maybe we should have this discussion now. Anyways, like I did say, this document is available online if you're looking for something for an example. It is order DOE letter O 442.2. I think it's a good way to start a conversation if this is something that you're considering putting into your organization. You can always reach out to me. We can talk about this. I have no problem with that. And talk about on how a document like this would look inside of your organization if you're so inclined on doing something along those lines. But then again, I look at it and I go, hey, this is what the pros are doing. So maybe it's something for us to consider as well to do. But then again, like I say all the time, what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Support for Safety FM is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SAFETY at manscaped.com. Imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed, and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I'm blown away by the performance. The craftsmanship and the detail on the 4.0 are next level. You know, more times of actually handling blades and becoming a bloody mess, if you know what I'm saying there. Manscaped engineered the ultimate growing and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and incredible, comfortable grooming experience. The 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. This upgraded trimmer includes a multi-function on-off switch that can engage a travel lock. It also gives the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for some precise shave. The Lawnmower 4.0 even allows you to customize your trim throughout additional guards, lengths with sizes 1 through 4. Did I mention that it's wireless charging? Yeah, not a joke here. The new wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. Men, if you've been shaving with the same nut trimmer on your face, you've been doing it wrong. No person wants to end up with pubes in their mouth. It's time to get your own ball hair and body trimmer with Manscaped to make me time the best time and enhance your confidence with some nice, smooth boys. Get 20% off and free shipping with code SAFETY at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with code SAFETY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code SAFETY. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Okay, so there you go. That is, let's see, Nightmare of Defeat, 3-Armed Scissors. Yep, this one's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. Yeah, I don't even know where we're going with this one. Here we go. Okay, there you go. I don't know. So a lot of stuff there for sure. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about some other things going on inside of the world of the multiverse. It is 40 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out. So I have to tell you, as of recent, it happens from time to time. I get invited on to shows, to come hang out, be interviewed and all that kind of fun stuff. It always normally ends up me interviewing the person. I don't know why it ends up being that way, because I just have this bad habit that I can't keep my mouth shut, and I want to know more about them than I really want to share about me. So this one has become interesting. I, as of recent, have been invited on to a couple of shows. And it becomes a very interesting aspect. So I just recently did one out of Brazil, which was kind of cool, hanging out with Hugo. Going through some stuff right there. It's available on YouTube, that one. But I have recently been involved I've been invited into two. One I had to cancel because I couldn't make it because of something that came up. And then I recently was asked to go into another one, and I agreed. But here's been the weird part. So they reached out to me. I'm supposed to be doing the interview here in the next little bit. And they asked me to write questions for them to ask me during their show. No. You heard me. They asked me to write them questions to ask me during their show. Now, the weird part is, regardless of what show I go on next, everybody's going to assume that that's the show I'm talking about. But here's the thing. I thought that was a weird ask. Now, I'm going to tell you, all of the conversations that we have on the Jay Allen show, in particular, they're live. And, I mean, the only thing that you can make the automatic assumption that we're going to ask you is this one. How did you get involved in X? And after that, it's kind of a free-for-all of however the conversation goes. So here's the thing. I like being involved in helping out other people and all that, but I just thought it was weird. Because, listen, I'm trying to fill about 17 hours worth of content a week between these two shows that I do. So I don't think that me actually asking myself questions would be the thing for me to do on your show. At this particular point, I would just think I would just interview myself here. I mean, wouldn't that kind of serve the same purpose? I mean, I'm just asking. But I thought it was a weird ask. So it made me start thinking right away, too, about how some of these conversations become so different, opposed to it sounding like a normal conversation, especially if it's scripted. But then again, they're probably going to think, if they listen to this, that I'm just picking on them, which I'm not. I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
So here you go. Here's a news story that was making the sequences. So here you go. A fountain of 3 years ago. Yeah, a scientific study has found that it is actually possible to make yourself 3 years younger in just 8 weeks through a simple diet and lifestyle change. In a clinical trial of Health Got Research Institute and Yale researchers monitored the result of a treatment program focused on diet, sleep, exercise, relaxation, and guidance and supplemental nutrients. The program was designed to target specific biological mechanics called DNA melatonin. So there you go. The pattern of accumulating the damage leading to a greater and greater loss of cell function. The results showed that committing to these lifestyle changes produced statistically significant reduction in biological aging of cells. The scientists say that the study is unique in its use of a safe non-pharmaceutical dietary and lifestyle program, and is to the extent of age reduction. Observe the plan to carry out the larger study, which they say that they expect to corroborate their findings. Why not? They've got time, right? It's like the old time saying it's someone came up with a pill that had the same benefit as a healthy diet and exercise. Would it be called a miracle? Which is a good question. I think that I aged myself about 3 years on the weekend, so there you go. That's something to think about as well. But here's the thing. When you start reading about those things, you have to really find out how long have you been doing this? Because realistically, when you start regenning, and you know that bullshit that people used to say, but probably when you were much younger, you are what you eat, there is some truth to it. Yeah, there is some truth to that. Look into it some more if you want. Anyways, working from home, let's talk about some of this stuff because this has become interesting. When you're working from home, what are you really doing? According to a recent survey, while 76% of those working from home spend more than 4 hours each day focused on work, 40% of participants said that they spend more hours away from their computer. Other highlights, a study of American Commission on the Economist. So here you go. 44% have been reprimanded at least once for getting off task, and 39% have been let go from their jobs for doing non-work related activities. We talked about this last week. About 50% have worked for another company while on the clock with their employer. 77% shop online while on the clock at least once a week. Almost 50% have had an alcoholic drink during this time. 60% have taken a nap. 42% have been on a date. How do you go on a date while you're working? I'm trying to figure out, and you're on lockdown. 41% have had sex, and I feel guilty scrolling through Facebook for about 10 minutes. So there you go. I mean, I know people that do weird kind of stuff when they're at work regardless, so I don't even know how this becomes a thing. You know, it's interesting because you hear about people doing all kinds of stuff. So did you take lunch and go on your date, or did you take lunch and do your sexual escapade according to this? I think I need more data opposed to just kind of having some weird stuff that doesn't cover everything that I want to know. But then again, that's what happens when you get partial information.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the world right now. No winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $34 million jackpot or a $23.2 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing. Wednesday's drawing will be for $268 million jackpot or a $184.2 million cash payout. Let's talk about the box office this weekend because it was quite interesting. Let's do the top 10. So here you go. World War Z made $448,000. That was a re-release. At number 9, Those Who Wish Me Dead made $641,000. That dropped from number 3 from last week. At number 8, Dream Horse, $817,000. Godzilla vs. Kong made about $1 million. At number 6, Demon Slayer, $1.6 million. Raya and the Last Dragon, $2.6 million. Number 4, Wrath of Man, with $2.8 million. At number 3, Spiral at $2.9 million. That dropped from the number 1 spot. At number 2, at $26.5 million, Cruella, which you could have watched from home, just throwing that out there if you have Disney Plus. And then at the number 1 spot for over the weekend at $58.5 million, A Quiet Place Part 2. I need to watch Part 1. I never watched Part 1. But then again, my kids are so loud at times. I don't even think that I would have the right environment to watch Part 1.
You are listening to a Radio God. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a Radio God. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
So don't know if you saw, but today we have released the newest episode of the Jay Allen Show. I did kind of a small throwback for a hot minute. A couple weeks ago, we were at Safety Day 2021, and we're doing a live event there. I took a recording that I had sat down with Samuel Goodman, and we had done a live event, or had done partial of the live interaction, and I did release that one as for the podcast for today, not the radio show, but for the podcast. I wanted you to take a listen to it if you weren't able to listen to it in real time, because it was mid-afternoon when we did that one. But I want you to take a listen to what he had to say. Also, he goes into the discussion of what he has going on when it comes to this new book, the Safety Sucks manifesto that he had released right at the same time. So if you do get a chance, take a listen of that one. We did do a video stream at the same time, but I wanted you to take a listen to it if you were so inclined to do so. So let me talk to you real quick about this before I forget. Have you taken a listen to this speech this conversation with Dr. Todd Conklin. If you haven't, you have the opportunity to do so. It is called Bouncing Forward, and he's talking about how you bounce forward from COVID. So here you go. You can join Todd Conklin for his newest class. Go to safetyfm.io for more information. You can go through the whole aspect. He sits around and he talks about how you're able to proceed forward from this. A lot of information about it at safetyfm.io if you're so inclined to find out some more information about what exactly is going on right there. So some different things to talk about, because that's for sure. I think that you'll enjoy that one if you're so inclined to come out and, take a look at it. Take a look at it. That is for sure. Anyway, some other things real quick. We haven't talked about this. Have we talked about this? We haven't talked about it because we're born for it. Maybe we're born for it. Somehow we're born for it.
I've won most of the biggest cases in this state. And because of that, people think I'm out of reach for them. But the fact is that Feiger Law takes on all kinds of cases, big and small. No one else tries more auto cases than us. We get results and no one pays until we win. Feiger Law. I was born for this.
So for years, I have been telling you how I sleep so miserably at night, but that has all changed as of recent, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you about my friends at Helix Sleep. Helix Sleep has a sleep quiz that takes just about 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Why should you buy a mattress made for someone else? With Helix, you're getting a mattress that you will know will be perfect for the way you sleep. Everybody is unique, and Helix knows that. So they have several different mattress models to choose from. They have a soft, medium, and firm mattress. Mattress is great for cooling you down if you sleep hot. And even at Helix Plus mattresses for plus-size sleepers. I took the Helix quiz, and I was matched with the Helix Midnight Luxe mattress because I wanted something that felt soft. And I sleep on my side. It was such a different approach and exactly on how I was able to sleep. I love it. It's a huge upgrade from what I had before, that's for sure. The kids love it, even though they shouldn't be jumping on my bed, but that's a whole other story. And my wife loves it, which is important. So if you're looking for a mattress, you just take the quiz. You order the mattress, and you're matched to it. And the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You don't even need to go to the mattress store again. Helix is awesome, but you don't need my word for it. Helix was awarded the #1 overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ and Wired magazine. Just go to helixsleep.com/safety. That's helixsleep.com/safety. There, take the 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you up with a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try the mattress for 100 nights, risk-free. They'll even pick it up if you don't love it, but you will. Helix is offering up to $200 off of all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/safety. That's helixsleep.com/safety for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's do this. 53 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's continue talking some more. Let's talk about what happened back on this date. So back on this date, cable news networks hits the airwaves for the first time. At the time, it was the first and only cable channel provided constant 24 hours news coverage. The first broadcast featured David Walker and Lois Hart, who were married newscasters. Since the debut, the network has expanded to 36 bureaus in 27 countries. Even 6 years later, it was the only network to offer live coverage of the launch and the explosion of Space Shuttle Challenger. If you know what I'm talking about, cable news network is known as CNN. So that happened back on this day. Also back on this day in 2017, Donald Trump withdraws from the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement. He felt that the agreement undermined the U.S. economy and put the country at a permanent disadvantage. Trump's decision was backed by many Republicans and strongly opposed by Democrats. A formal notice was given 2 years later. So there you go. Let's talk about some birthdays for today. Chase Chrisley turns 25. Tom Holland, Spider-Man turns 25 today. Chloe Kahn turns 30. Gaby Dunn, 33. Amy Schumer, 40. Sarah Wayne Callis, 44. Alanis Morissette, 47. Heidi Klum, 48. Morgan Freeman, 84. So there you go. Those are the birthdays that are occurring today. And just in case, if you did not know, today would have also been Andy Griffith's and Marilyn Monroe's birthday. Also, they were born actually on the same year, 1926. So some stuff to think about. Anyways, let's continue talking real quick before I get you out of here. What do we got? Maybe some quick whack facts before we get you out of here. Frozen vegetables can be more have a nutritional value than week-old fresh veggies. Potatoes, tomatoes, and green peppers all contain nitrogen. What? No, it doesn't. How does it have nitrogen? That sounds wrong. The nations whose people trust each other the most also consume the most coffee. Cats make about 100 different sounds. Dogs make about 10. Pilots jokingly refer to midair collisions as a aluminum shower. Astronauts cannot burp in zero gravity, but they can fart. That's something to know, which I didn't.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's continue talking real quick. Let me tell you real quick about this because this is the most important thing of the show, because it always is. Let me tell you about the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Know that you're not alone. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local community whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. For more information, go to AFSP.org, AFSP.org, or call 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-TALK, or text the word TALK to 741-741. Don't do anything if you're contemplating suicide until you've made connection with them. Please understand that. So important what you do out there. Seriously. Anyways, let's talk about a couple more things before I let you go. 2 women have been identified after ramming their vehicle into a Maryland Taco Bell following a disagreement over a food order. Eyewitnesses say that they placed reek of gas, then the woman drove their car into it. A study shows that over 50% of people don't trust their neighbors and 25% don't know who their neighbors are. Both of these are true for me, which is really weird because normally I trust people I've seen naked. The Indy 500 just took place. It happens every year over Memorial Day weekend, just like me vomiting Busch Light and boneless hot chicken wings. Happy birthday, Morgan Freeman. He is 84 today. Unfortunately, he won't be able to enjoy his birthday party because he'll be too busy narrating it. Tweet this. Do narcissistic dogs owners have their own fetch selfie stick? That's something to think about. Anyways, let's continue on. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What's one thing about you that surprises people? If you need a random joke for today, try this one. Life is never more confusing than when 3 people get together to order pizza. If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. According to according to science, if you work out on a regular basis, you will do this less. What is it? Pass gas. So there you go. Apparently a lot of gas references here today. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show on RadioBig.fm and on SafetyFM.com. Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. You can always take a listen to us 24/7 on SafetyFM.com, on the different apps that we have available via Safety FM or Google Play Store, or you can just go to SafetyFM.com and order it directly from there. So anyways, we can't do what we do without you. You are the best part of Safety FM, but you already know that. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Sometimes the best helping hand you can give someone is a good, firm push. Not a joke. Think about that for a moment. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
Duh.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.